Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video. We'll have a bit of a chat about what's happened in Spain over the last week or so as far as news is concerned, some of the main stories that caught my attention in the press, and we'll also go into the phone and check out what is happening there in the press today, any news stories that are breaking, and we'll see if there's any negative stories from the British press in the news today. I'm sure there will be. As you can see, a fantastic day, 23, 24 degrees Celsius currently. I'm sitting outside here on the patio enjoying the fantastic weather under the shade, of course. That's one of the reasons I'm not in my usual car park space today, because the sun is beating down, so I need some shade. But they're going to get up to a top of around 31, 32 degrees Celsius here, I believe, and summer, I can say, is finally here. Now into the news and the big story over the last week or so, the European elections, which were held last Sunday. Lots of interesting results around the different European Union countries. For example, France, the rise of the far right that forced Mr. Macron to call new elections there. He wants to try to put the genie back in the bottle. Don't know if he's going to be successful or not, but Ms. Le Pen and company on the rise in France. Here in Spain, no surprises really when it came to those election results. Fairly stock standard, as we have seen in different elections over the last year or so. The PP political party, the Partido Popular, the Popular Party, was the most voted for party in those European elections, followed by the PSOE party, the current ruling government party. They came in second, and Vox came in third. But there was one surprise, I tell a lie, and it was the result that one political party, a new political party called the Party is Over, Se Acabó la Fiesta is the name of that party in Spanish, and I'm going to be honest, this party has caught me by surprise because I had not heard of this political party up until last Sunday, and I read the Spanish press every day of the week, but this party had slipped my attention. Now you're asking, who is this political party? Well, all I can say is that they are right of extreme right. Now I know some people are going to get upset with that because they don't like hearing the term extreme right. They just want to hear the term right-wing parties, not extreme right. But this party is fairly extreme, and you only have to read some of the things that they have said over the last couple of months or so to realize that they are pretty extreme. And basically what this party does, it's copying other parties in the European Union that are doing something fairly similar, using social media to put outrageous, absurd messages to the people so that they stand up and listen. Dog whistle politics, if you like, putting messages out there that appeal to a certain type of the population. I'm not included in that population, obviously, so that's probably why I had never heard of this party. But if you look at the voting statistics, the people that voted for this party in those recent elections, basically men between the ages of 18 and 24, who are looking for something in life that they haven't found yet. And this person, Mr. Perez is his name, Albice Perez, basically talks to those people. Now, to give you an idea of some of the statements that this person is putting out on social media or at his political rallies when he talks to people, we can see here the 10 most controversial phrases of Albice Perez. Firstly, Pedro Sanchez. He says, "Pedro, hurry up and get out. You better hide in a trunk of a car because we're going to put you in prison." So talking directly to the Prime Minister there, saying that he's going to put him in prison. He's going to be the one that puts Mr. Sanchez in prison. And of course, all of his supporters want that to happen. Another controversial phrase from Mr. Perez, he's talking about a mega prison, and if it sounds familiar, it's because it's already been done in El Salvador, so he's going to bring that idea here to Spain. So he says a mega prison without a pool or gym on the outskirts of Madrid. All the politicians who live off the impunity of the robbery, for example, gives a couple of names, the whole bunch of people who have become millionaires, etc., etc., etc. He also talks here about salary donations, saying that he's going to donate 100% of his public salary because we are not damn parasites. Journalists, he calls them mercenaries. You have to understand the fatigue of the Spanish people, he says. When it comes to Pablo Iglesias, the former leader of the Podemos party, we come to politics not to become millionaires like everyone else. As you all know, I am not looking at Idealista for a small apartment in Galapagar. When he talks about Morocco, it's our geopolitical, economic and military enemy. I'm going to go with colonels in the reserve to explain to the Canary Islands people how we, the entire civil society, are going to organize ourselves and stand up to a Moroccan invasion. The king also gets a mention. The main obligation of the King of Spain is to protect the constitutional framework. If the King of Spain signs something that is contrary to the constitutional framework, he is not fulfilling his task as a king. Why do we have to dedicate 10 million euros a year? So that he lives in his palace if it's of no use. Immigration also cops a mention. Tomatoes need more bureaucracy to leave the garden than immigrants do to enter. And partyocracy is the last thing he mentions. We are tired of the occupation, tired of insecurity, tired, in short, of a partyocracy that some leaders have been sucking at the state's breast for 35 years. So, believe it or not, this type of rubbish is being listened to by some members of the Spanish population, and I'm going to be honest, it's sad. But I can imagine that if you are a young person between the ages of 18 and 24 that hasn't studied, hasn't gone to university, probably didn't even finish high school, can't get a decent job, but wants money for nothing and chicks for free, you listen to people like this. And again, in my opinion, this highlights some of the dangers of social media, because people like Mr. Pettit here can put out messages like this and reach an audience, something that he couldn't have done 15, 20 years ago, but today he can. And again, I'll use the word sad. So we'll see if this new political party, Se Acabó la Fiesta, takes off here in Spain, whether it becomes more popular or whether it stays exactly where it is. I don't know, but as I always say, time will tell. But all I can say is that parties like this and people like this are dangerous for Spanish democracy. But again, my opinion. And finally, today we'll go into the international press and check out what is happening there. A couple of interesting stories. Firstly, a positive story from CNBC about a millennial couple that left the US for Spain. We're so much happier now. Here's how much it costs. In September 2021, after 10 years of wishing and planning, we moved from Lawrence, Kansas to Logroño, Spain with 2 dogs, 4 suitcases, and about $45,000 in savings. The move wasn't the only major change in our lives. When we arrived in Spain, Jessica was 7 months pregnant with our son, so we were about to become first-time parents in a foreign country without family close by. On top of that, our visas for teaching English were only valid for 2 years. This meant we had to find a long-term solution for living in Spain before our visas expired and our savings ran out. We had no idea that accidentally becoming influencers would be the answer to making our dreams come true. When we moved to Spain, we did so with student visas. Eric was teaching English and making about $753 a month. After 6 months in Spain, Jessica created a TikTok account as a way to share our experiences with family and friends back home. One day, she decided to post a video about moving from Kansas to Spain. That video got more than 300,000 views, and it inspired us to start posting consistently. After a year, we had amassed more than 10,000 followers. So, there we go, a US couple here in Spain living the dream. Started off as English teachers, weren't really making a decent living, only $753 a month, which, let's be honest, you can't get by on that in any city here in Spain. Logroño, for example, where they're living, impossible to live with a salary like that. But they decided to share their experiences, their life experiences, on TikTok and probably on other social media as well, and now they are making a living. So it just goes to show that these things can be done. Move from one country to another, share your experiences, and make money on social media. So a positive story there. But of course, with every positive story comes a negative story, and this one here has caught my attention. Let's click on it. UK tourists in Spain say we should have holidayed elsewhere and warn, be careful. A Spanish tourist hotspot has been hit by massive flooding with people trapped in water. UK tourists heading to Murcia in Spain have been warned after footage on social media and published by media outlets showed water tearing through the town, which is popular with holidaymakers and tourists. People had become trapped in their cars in the water, with some showing signs of hypothermia. 48.3 litres per square metre of water fell, of which 32.8 fell in just 10 minutes, according to reports by the State Meteorological Agency, the AEMET. So there we go, and what would these Friday videos be without these negative stories from press outlets like Birmingham Live? It seems they live off stories like this. UK tourists in Spain say we should have holidayed elsewhere and warn, be careful. Now, it is true, the other day there was flash flooding in some parts of the country. We saw that Mallorca Airport suffered flash flooding, and towns around Mallorca Airport. Murcia, as we know, also suffered flash flooding. Some parts of Andalusia also suffered flash flooding. Some parts of Alicante too, and other parts of the country. So it does happen, let's be honest. And basically, you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time no matter where you go in the world. It doesn't matter whether you were in Murcia, it doesn't matter whether you are in Andalusia, it doesn't matter whether you're here in Madrid. You can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and these things happen. In fact, in a place like Murcia, this type of flooding is a regular event. I saw an interview with somebody who owns a bar in a city in Murcia, and he said that he's had the bar for 7 years and it's been flooded out 4 times in the last 7 years. So it happens quite regularly. But again, just highlighting how negative some press outlets are in the UK when it comes to Spain. They can't get enough of these negative stories. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you have anything to add to the conversation today, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego from Madrid, Spain.